Now, my last year of my career, I'm backing up Tom Brady. I'm 106 years old. I got a little cane and a walker, and I just had the pom-poms out, and I was cheering.
Right.
So, and Tom doesn't get hurt, and Tom's not.
He doesn't come up the field.
He's not. We're up 40-0. Tom's out there taking the kneel downs. Right. That's just the way it's going to be. So, but there were other situations where you knew that opportunity was coming, and you stayed sure. So when you're behind a guy that is the guy, like a Tom, it's hard to make yourself prepare every week. The motivation gets tougher, especially as the season gets on, and it becomes a mental discipline.
We have become North America's fastest growing football podcast, and now Flutie versus Stegall is in person. Wow. Here we are in studio together.
In person.
The band is here.
Yes. We got the band back together. We're in Vegas and going to go get it. And it's like, Milt and I hadn't seen each other in years.
It's been a while. We couldn't remember the last time
we can't even remember.
each other.
It's way back.
Yeah.
And you guys went golfing together. Milt Stegall went golfing, Doug.
Yeah, no. The final frontier.
75-yard putt within 2 feet of the hole. It was absolutely amazing. He's about 70 yards off the green, pulls out the putter. Milt Stegall showing him how it's done.
I'm ready, baby. I'm ready.
So you two have followed each other's careers from afar. Mm-hmm. And Doug, what's been clear to me over the last year or so, like the admiration you had for Milt's career, and Milt the same way, Doug. Like what's that like as a quarterback watching a receiver who's not a teammate, but in the same league, and as a receiver watching a quarterback run around do their thing? What stands out when you're watching some?
I want to start this off because I was telling Doug, and don't get me wrong, I played with a bunch of quarterbacks, but I played with two great quarterbacks, Kahari Jones and Kevin Glenn. But I told Doug, if I would have played with Doug, and I'm not joking when I say this, I would have had 2,500 yards. And I'm not joking when I say that. That's how great Doug was when he was on the football field. If Doug would have been 6'2", he would have been the greatest quarterback in football history because he would have got more of an opportunity.
Right.
You remember when he was coming out, it was like, oh, he's too short, he can't play. That's why he didn't get that opportunity like a lot of other guys who were taller than him, who weren't at his level got to play. So, and I'm not just saying that because he's here. I've said that to him. I've said this to other people that he was a special player, and if he would have got more of an opportunity, he would have been the greatest quarterback ever. And if I would have played with him, I would have had 2,500 yards, and I'm not joking when I say that.
But it's funny. We're both thinking along the same line. It's the second you say, when you admire a player from afar, it's like the first thing is I want that guy on my team. I want to play with that guy. I need to. God, we could use it. This, I had a lot of great receivers over the years, and my thing became efficiency. Get the ball out of my hand, get it in their hand, let them run. Milt was the big play guy. He was the guy I would have taken. I mean, I had my guy in Buffalo was Eric Moulds. He was that guy. Milt would have been. I joke about it. It's yards per catch, and I don't know if it's because Milt, if it wasn't over a 20-yard catch, he wasn't going to catch it. But boy, it was the big plays, and it was fun to watch him from afar. And it was like the ball touched his hands, and the run after the catch, and the downfield stuff. And that's what you think. The first thing that enters your mind is, boy, it would be fun to play with that guy.
Right. So what gives a quarterback confidence from, with a receiver? Is it durability, dependability? Is it knowing the playbook? What is it, Doug?
Well, it's being under fire together and then making plays, and then you build this trust, and you build the trust by a daily routine and practice and always being, depth of route, whatever. I mean, there's specifics to it. But by doing it day after day after day, you build that confidence and trust in each other. And then under a game situation, you start coming through. And now, and I keep going back to Eric Moulds is that guy for me in Buffalo. He's one-on-one. He's not open. Yeah, he's fine. I'm putting the ball up. He'll make a play. The DB's not going to get it.
Yeah.
Chances are he'll catch it, or there's going to be an interference call. And you just build that trust. Because if you're waiting for a guy to be open every time you throw the ball, you're going to hold the ball.
It's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
So you talked about if Doug was, a few inches taller, he was always kind of pegged as the undersized guy. Mm-hmm. That's still going on today? Like Kyler Murray is the first overall pick.
Not as much because now, and Doug and I, we spoke about this, you want your quarterback to be a little bit mobile now. Be able to move around now. So with that guy not always having to be, behind the offensive line, having to move around. You want that mobile guy. Most of the mobile guys are shorter guys. They aren't 6'4", 6'5". They're between 5'10" and maybe 6'1" or 6'2". So they're getting more of that opportunity now to go out there and play. You talk about Kyler Murray. You talk about other guys getting those opportunities now. So it's good because you don't want to pigeonhole anybody. It's unfortunate that Doug didn't get all the opportunities he should have had, but he paved the way. So now these guys are getting their opportunities to go out there and play some football too. I think Tua is like 5'10", 5'11". So it's a good thing to see.
Okay, so let's talk about this because you bring up Tua. We talked about Kyler Murray. We can just go through quarterbacks that have gotten shots and have had no production. You've been in quarterback rooms where you're probably sitting in there saying to yourself, man, I'm better than these guys getting shots ahead of me.
Don't say any names.
First of all, you've got
names.
to believe that or you don't belong. You've
Sure.
got to believe I can do that. I can be on the only time I ever didn't feel that way was real early in my career, and I was in the quarterback room with Steve Grogan.
Okay.
And I'm like, from a knowledge standpoint, I just knew I didn't quite belong yet. Athletically and all that, I had that, but it was coming. You get in that room, and it's a business, right? The guy that's making the big money, the guy that's the first round draft choice, they've got the GM's neck on the line, the head coach's neck on the line, all that. They try to make that guy the guy. They want him to be successful. And you're just waiting for your chance. And it's frustrating, but also it's a team sport and you're being supportive and you're trying to help everybody along and we all talk, game plan, everything else, and sideline.
But ...
You're just chomping at the bit waiting for that chance. And the key to anything is when that opportunity shows, you better perform and you're stepping out there and you're going. And that, I don't know. I was always looked at as the Band-Aid. I was a guy that can make us competitive. The Kirk Cousins right now for Raiders, right? If he needs to play, they're going to be competitive.
Kurt is a wet Band-Aid, right? But we won't talk about that now.
But he's going to make them competitive.
He's a rich Band-Aid.
You're going to have a veteran guy that can make you competitive. And that's what they looked at me like, yeah, we can win with Doug. He's not our guy. While we're doing this, let's find our guy. And that's the NFL mentality is we need a guy that is a bridge guy. And we need our franchise guy.
Let me ask you a question, Doug. Knowing that you were better, and we won't say any names, knowing that you were better than the guy that they were playing, and they were playing because they had so much invested in him, did that impact you mentally, saying like, hold on, I need to be out there. I'm better than this guy. Why aren't I playing?
I think it keeps your edge. It keeps you fighting. It makes you, it's frustrating, but it keeps you motivated to be ready when that time, and there were
did you know that this guy eventually is going to slip up?
Oh, yeah. You knew, and there were two different situations where you knew you were going to get on the field at some point.
All right.
So you had to keep yourself ready.
You knew you were going to get. Now, my last year of my career, I'm backing up Tom Brady. I'm 106 years old. I got a little cane and a walker, and I just had the pom-poms out, and I was cheering.
Right.
So, and Tom doesn't get hurt, and Tom's not.
He doesn't come off the field.
He's not. We're up 40-0. Tom's out there taking the kneel downs. Right. That's just the way it's going to be. So, but there were other situations where you knew that opportunity was coming and you stayed sure. So when you're behind a guy that is the guy, like a Tom, it's hard to make yourself prepare every week. The motivation gets tougher, especially as the season gets on, and it becomes a mental discipline.
So, I mean, we're sitting here with two Hall of Famers. You're the face of the franchise as a receiver, and there are times you might be looking over just being like, this quarterback isn't it. How do you deal with that as a player? How do you go communicate that to management, to the head coach? What's the role of a star player when things aren't going well and you're saying to yourself, man, we need to do something, but I also kind of know my role here?
You have to know your role. You have to stay in your lane because it's not your place to do that.
It isn't. It's
not your place. I mean, there are certain ways where you can give hints, but for you to go to management or the head coach and say, okay, I think this needs to happen, as a receiver, as any other, it's just not your place. Anybody on the team. The coaches coach, the management, they're going to do what they want to do. All you can do is go out there and do your job. That's all you can do. And it may be impacting your job that the best a person for that position is not in there, but it's not your place to go out and say that.
And it's hard enough for the guy out. The guy's struggling at quarterback. Let's say he's not getting the ball out and if some star guy on the team starts speaking, it makes that guy's job even harder. And now you're undermining the confidence even more, and you're starting the clicks in the locker room, and you've got to try to be supportive as possible. You got to.
Which brings us to Philadelphia, where it seems like there's always some kind of soap opera. So when that happens, when there's conflict like that spills out publicly, whether it's real or not, everything gets dissected. It's not just now with A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. I mean, you think back to T.O. and Donovan McNabb, and on we can go all over the place. Then how do you deal with that?
That you got to get the guys together in the same room and get on the right direction. It's so easy, especially off season.
Yeah.
It's so easy because people are apart and removed and not seeing each other on a daily basis. If you don't know someone, it's easy to talk bad about them. It's easy to. When you get back together, that's when you start working together again towards a common goal and all that. And there's limitations. Maybe Jalen Hurts isn't the best arm as far as standing in the pocket and throwing a ball up the field, and he's managed to win.
Yep.
He's fine. He finds ways to win. Early in my career in New England, they were afraid to let me throw the ball. We were throwing the ball 8 to 12 times a game for 70 yards and finding ways to win. And,
right.
So you got to come together, find a way. And I find that when there's a lack of communication between the individual players to each other, that's when things can divide and those types of things start to happen.
You've been in a situation where there's been division like that?
Yeah, without a doubt. And Doug, you mentioned a lot of things, but the most important thing you said was you got to go out there and win.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to resolve this issue, regardless if it's fabricated or not. You got to go out there and win. You don't go out there and win, they're going to be like, I told you there was so much division within this team. Even if there's not any division, even if they're not bickering one another. If you don't go out there and win, they're going to say, yes, they're going to pile on even more. Only way you're going to go out there and shut these folks up, the outside pundits, whoever it may be, you got to go out there and win. That's it.
And all that being said, I still hate Philadelphia's offense. It's like, throw the damn ball. It's like so frustrated watching that and the way they did things and all. But
they won a division,
there's 100 different ways to get it done.
Yes,
there really are.
Yep.
And if you're the running quarterback, if they got Tim Tebow at quarterback and they're afraid to throw the ball, but Tim's going to run over 5 guys, whatever it takes to get it done, you find a way to get it done, and that solves. You know what? It solves all ills until the offseason, and then they start looking at numbers.
Yeah.
The only time I got released was always in the middle of the offseason. Because I would make every team in training camp when they could see you on a daily basis. Shoot, Doug does this well. He does that well. Then the season would end. I'm 5'10" again.
Right.
Oh, shit, he is 5'9". He is 5'4".
We need to get.
He is 5'2".
Right.
It's like it's amazing.
So we know the name of the game's winning, but it's a business, as we've often heard. And now we're at a time where every new NFL GM head coach wants to find their own franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
So there's different ways of looking at this. Do you go the method of Mahomes, where he's backing up Alex Smith? Do you do the Jordan Love, where he sits for 2 or 3 years? Do you only have him under team control for 5 years until free agency? Do you bring in the veteran, or do you just throw him right into the wolves? What's your thought on this?
My first thought is every year, and it's because of the hype of the draft. They like make it this made for. I don't know how the draft became a made for TV event that everyone loves, but it's like you can pick up your phone and find out who the heck got drafted. It's like so that is boring TV to me. It's just amazing. So anyway,
and you're at every draft, huh, Doug?
Every year
you at all the drafts, Doug.
I'm not. I'm on a surfboard somewhere during the draft. But what amazed me is every year, because of the hype of the draft, there's 5 new saviors this year.
Right.
There's 5 guys. Oh, this is our franchise. That's our franchise. Oh, we're saved. The Jets are going to be great again. Or great sometime. And the Browns are going to be great. It's like, we're going to be great. We got a first round. It's like, I would rather take an established guy and find that established guy that and pay him whatever to get him to my team that I believe in. I see all these qualities in him, and we're going to start winning. The young guy, it's a crapshoot. Now, Mendoza coming out he's a very mature kid, and I think the variables on him are very low. I think you know what you're getting with him. But in general, they think they're going to draft the savior that's going to be our 20-year starter. There's 5 teams going to have a 20-year starter. It happens once every 5 years.
Right.
And throwing them into the fire. There's so much that goes into it. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it all depends on the makeup of the team. If you have a team who's just a quarterback away from making the playoffs or making a big turnaround from previous years, I think you come in maybe with the older guy, but your younger guy is ready to go if that older guy is not making it happen. I mean, I think that's what the Raiders are. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know what Kirk Cousins, is that going to be your guy right away? I don't know. Or are they going to go with Mendoza right away? But I think the Raiders are ready to win right now. Got the best center in the game. You invested a bunch of money on defense. They're ready to win right now. So it's going to be interesting. But I think if Mendoza comes in and shows he can get it done, I mean, you got $20 million invested in Kirk. That's not a lot of money, relatively speaking. And they're going to put him in right now and say, let's go. You're our guy.
$20 million?
What you say?
I'll take 20.
But it's also an interesting one because you say, where's your team? So you guys both know, I've been following Minnesota forever. They go and spend the second most amount of money in free agency because they were convinced J.J. McCarthy was the guy. Right? Second year.
You draft a kid, and he's going to be your savior right away.
And then it blows up, and now all of a sudden, here's Kyler Murray coming in door 1, here's Carson Wentz coming in door 2. It's year 3 of J.J. McCarthy. As people are questioning, has he lost the locker room? What happens when how does a young guy lose a locker room?
I don't know. You lose the locker. Okay, you struggle, but when they start bringing in the other guys, it motivates him. He will be the best version of J.J. McCarthy going forward. Whether that's good enough, I don't know. But Drew Brees in San Diego struggled. He tried to make Drew the starter in the second year. I played a lot. Drew come back in. They'd go and draft Phillip Rivers. It was like throwing a switch. And Drew Brees became Drew Brees. Took us to the playoffs. Now, he got injured and then had to end up doing it in New Orleans. But it's a great motivator. It all of a sudden, it's like, okay, you're giving up. Because a lot of times when and I don't know because I'm not a first-round draft choice. I wasn't a top guy that, they had all these expectations for. But they feel like they're just going to walk in and continue what they were doing in college, and it's not quite that easy. And now all of a sudden you realize you got to work this much harder. And sometimes it takes a little wake-up call.
It could motivate him, or it could also work against him. Now he's thinking like, they gave up on me. They gave up on me. I don't care anymore. Mentally, I'm checking out. I'm not the guy. I'm not going to be the star. He's not going to be the star. He knows he's not going to be the star. It's going to be Kyler Murray coming in. They're going to give him every opportunity to be the guy. And if Kyler Murray blows it up, they're going to sign him to a long-term deal. And that's it for J.J. McCarthy. So it could go that way or the other way. But another question I asked, Doug, and I know it worked out for Drew Brees, but if that what it takes to motivate you, maybe I don't want you to be my guy. I drafted you in the first round. I gave you some decent money. That should be the biggest motivating factor. And I know it worked for Drew Brees, but if that's what it takes, maybe you're not deserving to be the guy.
That's true. The self-motivated guy is the guy you need, the guy from the beginning. But sometimes when they come into the league, they don't know what it takes to be an NFL quarterback.
What does it take?
It takes 24/7 full-time commitment. It is a job. And now the kids understand it, I think, more than we did back then. The offseason was, when I first started in the NFL, the offseason was the offseason.
It was offseason.
It was off.
You got to wait.
We had one little 3-day mini camp, training camp.
Exactly.
They live at the facility now. And that's why the young guys can play right away, is because they have all this offseason work and they're there 24/7 with the coaches and they're working game planning stuff, game planning, but offense stuff.
And the coaches are looking at them. The coaches have some time to be like, hey, there might be something here.
Yeah, they have the ability. And I always said this: the reason that all the off seasons become what it is, and they're there full time, is because coaches can't be coaches unless they got the players around. Yep. They can only watch so much film and come up with so many ideas, and they got to be there 24/7. So they want the players around to do something. But that's why it gives the young guys a chance now. Like when I came out. Even if you were a top draft choice, you were sitting 3 or 4 years waiting for your opportunity. Yeah. And now the expectation is to play right away, and because they have the time to spend with them.
Guys, this has been great.
Yeah.
You know, hey, it's good to do this in person.
Live. I get to see your faces. I mean, I know you guys enjoy seeing my face more than seeing you.
One thing I wanted to add, it was earlier, and I let it go off of Milt's point of the smaller quarterback now getting opportunities. The nature of the game has changed. The nature of the game, what we were doing in Canada, spreading it out, slinging it around, putting guys in shotgun, quarterback as a runner, gravitated into college ball. Now it's into the NFL.
Yeah, 5 receiver sets.
You have 5 wides. You separate from the line of scrimmage in shotgun, RPO, all that lends itself to the athletic, smaller quarterback having a chance.
Yeah.
So you need to go back to college, huh, Doug?
I want to be 20 years old.
Get some of that NIL money.
Shit, I wouldn't even have to go pro. I'll just stay.
NIL money.
I'll take NIL money.
Yeah. This has been great. It's the off-season edition of Flutie versus Stegall. We have a bunch more episodes coming up. Great to see you both. We'll see you guys next time.